Laura, happy Monday. So I thought it would be fun to do a spin-off of things in Nona's house that just make sense, since most of my house, the item inside were actually inherited from my grandmother. So we're going to give you just a little bit of a tour and talk about the things that we see here. So in my room, right by my bed, I'm going to start with this huge painting that I got from my grandmother when she moved into her assisted living. And it's just in my room. Also, her chair. Also, right next to my bed, we have a statue from the 8 Mile flower shop that her brother bought in like the late 70s, early 80s. So I've got a lot of these figurines inherited too. Little peasant Italian women. They're very charming. And I also have my mom's hair because she passed away. So I have her hair in a glass container. I guess it's supposed to keep you close. We have that. I also have a book that was recommended to me about Italian American history. So that's next to my bed because I've got to work on my prequel pretty soon here. And I would like to see that kind of writing style. I also have my Bible on my bookshelf. So I have a bookshelf and it's full of dramatic books and then the Bible. And then we have wedding photos because of course you have to, honor your wedding. So that's here. Another huge painting from, guessed it, my family. And I also have this other painting that was my grandmother's, and she said it was done by a woman who was like, she saw visions of angels, so it's huge, but it's by my kids' bedrooms because you have to put religious items by your kids' bedrooms so that they're safe, right? I also have a medal, Benedictine medal by our wedding photos and our family photos because, again, protection. Also, we got the kids' portraits coming down the stairs because they're the star of the show. So we got Mira, Isaac, Isla, and then we have the nostalgia of them growing up. I changed that seasonally because they're awesome and I love them so much. I also, right by the front door, have a statue from my grandmother, and it reminds me of like those charming Italian statues with like the peasant women out and about doing their things. So there's that. We also have to have the educational flag in the house so the kids know what region we come from and where that is. So we got our flag. In the kitchen, we've got to have Bible verses around us so that we stay anchored. So that's on the door. We've got the olive oil and the basil just chilling always on the countertop, ready for me to cook. And then we have little altars set up around the house for people that have passed away, specifically. So in this corner of the kitchen, we have kind of a little altar space with a cross inherited from my mother who passed away, and then my nonno Emilio and my parents' and aunt's portrait. So that's that altar that's in the kitchen. Moving on, we have another little space over here in the family room, and basically it is kind of the story of our family assimilating. So I got one print when I was in school of Milan, and then I have my mother and my aunt who are actually from the other side, but that's okay. And then I have a print that I inherited from my grandmother that is of Ellis Island. So this is that little montage. Also, we got to have Jesus. So Jesus and white candles above the fireplace, because if you know, you know. And then in our sunroom, we have the Mary, because you got to have Mary in your home to protect your children. And then I've got a photo of my grandma actually up here in the sunroom. So she has her own little montage over there. And then I have many portraits of my great-grandparents around, just so my kids remember that they're important. So I have one of my nono and my nonna, and they are kind of also in like a little altar space in the dining room, because in Northern Italian kind of like folklore ancestral practice, you invite your ancestors to sit with you when you eat a meal. For example, when my cousin got married and her mom had passed away, she had a seat set for her at the table. So it's kind of like they're with us when we're having big family events, and I'm hosting them in this room. So that is their little setup. Fun fact, Nono looks exactly like my cousin Gary, which I think is adorable. So then I have one last altar space to show you, and a curio cabinet, because you know. Basically a grandmother at the age of 42. So over here I've created a sacraments niche over here. So it's getting married, first communion, confirmation, and it is showing all of those things. There's special things we've inherited from people, there's symbolic things, but all together it tells a story of our religious path. So we start over here with our marriage. We've got glasses, we've got inherited figurines. We've got the statue my mom used to talk about being me and her when I was a baby next to Isla's baptism. We've got Isla in her first communion. We've got Isaac's first communion. We've got a bridal picture. We've got Mira in her confirmation and her first communion. We also have the dog corner, because I don't know, it feels like Italians just love dogs. I love my dog. He's like my fourth child. We have a family wall. So we've got all these items on the wall about family. Over here, we have another whole family wall. And so you'll see we've got parents, all sorts of stuff. My cousins, people that passed away. Awesome. We've got my son who's training for war apparently in here. Oh, look at this. So in the curio cabinet, we also have the Italian candies, and my kids love to sneak these. So guess what? The curio cabinet is already open so that they can get to the Italian candies. Ooh. We've got some, of course, and we have some Italian ceramics. We have things from my aunt's wine shop that she had given me. We've got things that were given to me. We've got old family photos. We have an angels collection. St. Anthony. There's my cousin who looks like Nono. He's in there too. We've got the wedding photo of my grandmother. So, and then a picture of my cousin and I, some more things of my aunts. Basically, all of the things that have to do with family. And because I'm an artist, I inherited this from my grandmother. It's a painting of paintings. So this is in my studio because I do art. Also, I did a drawing of my grandmother that she framed and had up, so I inherited that back. So we've got a drawing of her. And then I have a little side business as part of my business for doing makeup, which is fun. I don't do it a lot, but it's there. So I have a little makeup corner in my Ciao Bella corner, so that's what this is all about. And of course, I have my great-grandmother up on another altar. So her name was Mildred. And it's next to this little globe that I used to have in my classroom that says follow that dream, because she went everywhere. She liked to travel. She loved France, I think, the most. And last but not least, the most Italian item in the whole house is the chest that Nono used to pack up his life from Italy and come over to America. So there's that. The end. So have a wonderful day, and don't forget where you came from. And I'd love to see things in your Italian American home that just make sense.